confession to make. If I were a Catholic, I would confess to a priest, but I was raised Episcopalian, and Episcopalians confess to bartenders. But I'm a lapsed Episcopalian. I haven't been in a bar in years. Anyway, I have a confession to make, and since I'm unaffiliated, I have to make my confession blind, stinking sober. I have 2 broken teeth. I don't blame God or genetics or Adam and Eve. I take full responsibility. My 3 favorite foods are coffee, candy, and carbon monoxide. I've polluted the oral sphere and accept the consequences. Somewhere among the microscopic monsters in my mouth is a teeny, tiny Al Gore saying, and a glacier the size of Nevada has just broken off of the number 15 molar. If this trend of oral warming continues, we can expect the molar ice caps to be entirely gone by 2016. Of course, none of the other microscopic monsters listen. They're all saying, honey, pack up the kids. We're spending the summer at the new Grand Canyon. Dental problems are not a new thing for me. I've been dentally impaired since childhood. Nobody says dentally impaired anymore. The socially acceptable term is unorthodontic, and I have been highly unorthodontic all my life. You could actually get a pretty good sense of how dentistry has developed in the last 20 years by examining these teeth. My mouth is like a box of chocolates. Each piece has a different filling. One more sliver of metal in my jaw and I'll get free Wi-Fi straight to my brain, and the Wi-Fi will broadcast images of happy people with digitally corrected smiles to remind me of my corruption and shame. But that's a confession, and I know that some of you came here looking forward to a sermon. Not many of you, but some, maybe. When I was 20, I was involved with the daughter of a millionaire hotshot periodontist, a great innovator in the maintenance and repair of gums. And he hated me. Now, I treated his daughter really well, but he could never forgive the way I treated my long-suffering gums. Anyway, once I had a chance to introduce him to my father, an Episcopal minister, and as I watched them talking, I realized this man feels about teeth the way that my dad feels about Jesus. They're both priests. And this is when I became fascinated by the religion of dentistry. You know, dentistry is not so different from other salvationist religions. Dentists prescribe daily rituals, make vague threats and promises about the future, and every so often put someone in a chair and torture them. And while we may be distracted by shiny things, implements, drills, and prods and such, a dentist's primary tool is the same as any Christian minister. Guilt. Guilt, guilt, guilt. I don't confess to priests or bartenders, but I confess to my dentist. My son, how long has it been since your last cleaning? Doctor, it has been more than half a year. And I've had impure foods. I have succumbed to my lust for gumdrops and muffins. I have partaken of the devil's food cake. And I have uttered blasphemous things like, more pie, please. I smoke like a factory town at rush hour. And in the morning, I rinse my mouth out with espresso. What can a dentist say to this? My son, you are dead to me. But he doesn't, because my filthy mouth could put his children through college. And so he says, renounce your fiendish ways, brush 3 times a day, floss regularly, and don't wait so long before your next confession. To paraphrase Dr. Sigmund Freud, it's a fine line between religion and neurosis. The only real difference is how many people are doing it. One guy putting on a bathrobe and doing the exact same thing every morning by himself is neurotic. But thousands of guys putting on a choir robe and doing the exact same thing every Sunday morning in a church is religion. And by this rationale, dental hygiene would probably be the most popular religion in America. Because across all boundaries of race, creed, class, and gender, people perform daily rituals at the altar of the bathroom sink for the salvation of their teeth. Not everyone, of course. You can usually tell a heretic because their smile looks like a crossword puzzle. But I would think many of us here, regardless of how we feel about immortal souls, set aside time each day to purify our mouths. Some of us may even say a prayer before eating. Teeth, don't fail me now. But I doubt that many of us organize our entire day around tooth care as our dentists recommend. Dentists are extremists, seeking to convert dental fundamentalists who brush 5 times a day and ask perfect strangers, "Have you accepted Crest as your personal fluoride savior?" You wait till they answer, but the words don't matter. You lean in and smells like rapture in there. The dragon of Babylon breathing sulfur and brimstone in your mouth. I guess the proper response, if you've got some gaps, is to say, "Yes, my purest teeth were taken up in the dental rapture, and I see all of yours were left behind." When it comes to dental hygiene, some true believers ask, what would Jesus do? And since there were no toothbrushes in first century Galilee, they just let go and let God. I believe that's the expression. I'm not one of those people, although I do have to wonder, how many teeth did Jesus have when he died? If I believed that he still had all of his teeth by the age of 33, I could believe all the other miracles, no problem. The state of Jesus' teeth may be why we never see him laughing in Christian art. Actually, every reference to teeth in the Gospels is the same. For those who go astray, there will be wailing and gnashing of teeth, which is what my wife tells me about how I sleep. A lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth. The good news is, it's Jesus. So you can always take one of his sayings out of context for other purposes, like the little-known dental interpretation of John 17:12, where he's really talking about teeth and not disciples when he says, "During my time here, I have kept them safe. I guarded them so that not one was lost, except the one headed for destruction, as the Scriptures foretold." Yes, it's a stretch, but if everyone else can steal from John's Gospel, why can't I? If you're Old Testamentally inclined, the Bible actually has a lot to say on dental matters. Obviously, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, which we read 3 times in the Torah. It was a big issue because this law originally existed to limit retaliation. Only an eye for an eye, only a tooth for a tooth. The average person's first impulse if someone knocks out their tooth is to go ballistic, when the righteous response is to calmly offer a chair and pull out the pliers. And late Bronze Age pliers were still pretty much Stone Age pliers, meaning a rock. But extract 1 tooth in your vengeance, no more. We don't get much description of what people's teeth looked like in biblical times, except for a strange compliment in Song of Songs 4:2. "Your teeth are like a flock of shorn sheep that have come up from the washing, all of which bear twins." So like a flock of clean white lambs are this person's teeth, maybe with a black sheep in the family. This explanation, in which all the sheep bear twins, might be a departure from the dental metaphor since, I would say a person's teeth sprouting twins, and this being considered a good thing, would be humanly impossible, but it's the Bible. Who am I to say what's possible? Unfortunately for believers, God's attitude toward teeth is usually less. "The Lord giveth, and more, the Lord taketh away." As we read in Psalm 3, "Rise up, O Lord, deliver me, for you strike all my enemies on the cheek. You break the teeth of the wicked." Amen. In Lamentations, we read, "God has made my teeth grind on gravel. I have forgotten what happiness is." And in Proverbs 25:19, "Trusting in a treacherous man in time of trouble is like a bad tooth or a foot that slips." Breaking a tooth is like trusting in a friend who proves unreliable. we're left feeling betrayed and vulnerable. And it makes us wonder, do we have the fortitude for the challenges ahead? Are my teeth stronger than the stale bagel I found in the fridge? Has my hard enamel dissolved, exposing sensitive roots of inner weakness? Will my teeth crumble in the crunch of adversity? There is a passage in the letter of James that I find somewhat comforting. Blessed is anyone who endures temptation. Such a one has stood the test and will receive the crown of life. Not to be greedy, but 2 crowns. That's what my dentist says I need. No, this is a lot of Bible. I'm a Bible teacher. I can't help it. I believe in evolution, but that doesn't help because the human lifespan keeps getting longer and the human tooth span remains the same. I'd like to think that someday our descendants will grow teeth 3 times. Baby teeth, teenager teeth, and adult teeth, so that by the time we're mature enough to take care of our teeth, we'll have brand new ones to protect for the rest of our lives. Or maybe one of these generations, humanity will finally get over one of our oldest prejudices and start intermarrying with the squirrels, so their children can have rodent teeth which continue to grow through the entire lifespan. I don't have any rodent friends, but at the risk of overgeneralizing, mice, rats, guinea pigs, they're always game for some experimentation. When the ballot for human-squirrel civil union comes up, I know what side I'll be on. And we know who'll be against it, the powerful dental lobbyists who understand the long-term repercussions of humans with self-repairing teeth. I don't know if my vote will count against their briefcases full of gold fillings, but I've got to try. One last Bible quote about dentistry. The prophet Jeremiah tells us that the days will come when people no longer say the parents have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge, but the teeth of everyone who eats sour grapes will be set on edge. That expression, teeth set on edge, takes on unsettling new meaning when your crumbling teeth suddenly have new edges that they didn't have before. And the tongue, strongest muscle in the human body, is also the most gullible and frightened of change. What? That tooth feel different? Will it feel the same if I lick it again? If I lick it again? If I lick it again? Yeah, stop that! It's a busted tooth, not a newborn kitten. Stop licking it. I'd have to try that thing, transcendental meditation, where you sit for hours trying to keep from tonguing a broken tooth until you realize there is no tooth. But probing deeper into this line from Jeremiah about parents eating sour grapes and their children's teeth being set on edge brings me to the root of a pressing dilemma. Because God knows I've had sour grapes in my life. I believe God knows because I believe God put them there. Disappointments, disasters, despair. But right now I'm not alone in my spiritual journey. I've picked up 2 hitchhikers, small children, who will look to me as they develop their own beliefs about God. Yes, they'll make up their own minds, but part of the data they'll have to deal with is what they see in their father. Will the sour grapes that I've eaten set their teeth on it? Will my spiritual plaque and cavities and hope decay stain their innocent new teeth? Or worse, will I succumb to the temptation as a parent to grind up religious struggles and doubts and ambiguities into some bland baby food, sugarcoat it and spoon-feed it to them? Jesus had a real hard weekend, but look, a magical rabbit left some chocolate in the yard. Be a lot easier teaching children about religion than it is to teach them about dental care, getting your kids to brush twice a day. It's like pulling teeth. And God and Charles Darwin actually joined forces to make it more difficult, because just as you're convincing your children that they can save their teeth by brushing, their teeth start falling out anyway. And then they get sucked into the children's dental religion, the tooth fairy, who gives them money for losing their teeth. So losing teeth is supposedly bad, but it happens anyway, and then you get paid. When I lost a tooth as a kid, I would spend the tooth fairy's dollar on candy so I could lose more teeth and get more candy. Now, if my own children told me they were enacting the same strategy, I would argue, well, yes, but, you see, there's It's complicated, but isn't it more fun to deprive yourself for the sake of some greater good in the remote, unforeseeable future? You're going to have to keep working on that one. I suppose these are struggles that every generation has to deal with. How do we guide our children toward the pearly whites of paradise? Save them from the festering depths of root canal. Straight and narrow is the path of the noble tooth, but winding, enticing, and colorful is the road to Candyland. Temptation is everywhere. The same could be said about teaching moral hygiene. But I would like to believe that regardless of doctors and doctrines, we each have inside of us a wisdom with long roots and strong enamel. And everyone has a right to bravely face each new day with a smile, even those of us who may have broken tooth. Thank you.